The forest, the mud, and the sea of ginger couldn't keep us away from these views. Was it worth it? You bet it was. Come along with us on an epic wilderness hike. We are Wildlings and Waypoints, your channel for family-powered adventure across the globe. Today's journey takes us deep into Kōkeʻe State Park on the island of Kauaʻi, where we're tackling the stunning and challenging Nuʻalolo Trail. This is a 7.5-mile round trip rated difficult due to the changes of elevation, the uneven terrain, and the steep drop-offs towards the end. It usually takes about 4 to 6 hours, and it is definitely not one for little ones or people who aren't used to hiking. Make sure to take plenty of water and snacks, and always check the weather and the trail conditions before hiking. Trails can be extremely slippery and dangerous after the rain. The start of the trail can be found just past mile marker 15 along Kōkeʻe Road. There's a small parking area nearby. The trailhead is easy to spot, even if the start sign is a little bit hidden. Don't forget to stop by the boot brush station to help protect the forest from invasive species and diseases. The trail kicks off with a short uphill stretch that will get your legs warmed up, and then it dips into a beautiful shady forest. You're starting out at about 3,800 feet above sea level, so the air is nice and cool and it feels pretty peaceful right away. Expect mud and some uneven terrain, and definitely bring a good pair of hiking shoes. This sign marks the edge of Kauaʻi Nature Reserve, a protected area for native plants and wildlife. You'll see a fence a little bit later. It helps to keep the invasive species out. As you start to head downhill, you'll notice a set of wooden stairs built right into the trail. They help to make the steep, sometimes muddy sections a bit more manageable, especially for families with kids. However, their true purpose is to protect the trail from erosion. Make sure to take your time on the trail and you'll spot little wonders like this guy. Here's the boundary fence that I mentioned earlier that separates the nature reserve from the state park. One of the wildlings spotted some wild berries growing along the trails. These might look like tasty blackberries, but these guys are actually invasive and can crowd out native species. As you continue down the trail, you'll pass through a dense patch of yellow ginger. These tall plants aren't native to Hawaii either. They were introduced for their beautiful, fragrant flowers, but they've since spread into the forest. When they're blooming, the air fills with their sweet scent, and their broad green leaves often shade the path. In the morning, these leaves hold plenty of dew, so don't be surprised if you get a little wet as you brush past. Just one of the few obstacles along the way. Duck and keep going. This part of the trail stays muddy, even a while after it rained, but the wildlings powered through, mud and all. Here's a few more fun obstacles to get through as we make our way to the Vista point. Kauai's wild chickens are everywhere, including halfway down a muddy trail. Through this part, the trail cuts through a thicket of briars, and then it opens up into tall, waving grass. It's a reminder that out here, the landscape is always changing. Every turn brings something new. Two miles in and the trail's still dropping. Easy going for now, but we'll feel it later on the way back up. These bright red brush-like blossoms belong to the ohia lahua, one of Hawaii's most iconic native trees. It's often the first to grow on new lava and plays a vital role in supporting native forest life. But this beautiful tree is now threatened by a disease called rapid ohia death, which is why staying on the trail and using boot brushes is more important than ever. We're at mile marker 3 and the trail continues to dip down. Our legs are feeling it, but man, the views are gonna be worth it. The trail cuts along the hillside here with exposed roots making it tricky in spots. One of the wildlings used the roots like natural handrails to steady her way down. This is our first peek at the ocean and the cliffs, but the real views are still ahead. As the trail broke free from the forest, we stepped into a whole new world. Wide open sky, steep drop-offs and views that stretched all the way to the ocean. It looked a little intimidating, especially for the kids, so they decided to hang back. My husband and I took turns continuing on, trading off the camera and the adventure. Despite the cliffs, the trail felt wide enough, even for someone like me, who was a little uneasy with heights. And honestly, the views just kept getting better. That final quarter of a mile is pure magic, hugging the edge of the cliffs with sweeping views north along Nā Pali Coast. It's the kind of moment that makes you stop, breathe it all in, and feel small in the best possible way. Just after mile marker 3.75, you'll arrive at Lolo Vista Point, the dramatic end of the Nuʻalolo Trail. A sturdy metal railing marks the overlook. It's there for the safety of visitors because the cliff drops steeply into the lush Nuʻalolo Valley below. At this point, we've dropped about 1,600 feet in elevation. We're standing at roughly 2,200 feet above sea level. But it's all worth it for these views. It's the most stunning inland accessible viewpoints of Nā Pali Coast. Many visitors see the Nā Pali Coast from the air with a helicopter tour. It's dramatic from any angle, but standing here on foot, after hiking nearly 4 miles, gives you a connection to the landscape that can't be replicated. I don't know if you can see them or not, but there's the rest of the wildlings having lunch under a tree. And that's where I'm headed back to. I'll be back there in just a minute or two. Now I am back with girls, and it's my husband's turn to go down and see the scenery at Lolo Vista Point. We're doing a bit of trail tag team. Taking turns is definitely a method that I would recommend to any parents whose kiddos might not want to go through the narrow trail. Maybe the heights are a little bit intimidating, or maybe they're just a bit tired. There are some shady trees that you can sit, take a break, drink some water, eat some carbs, get ready for the uphill slog back to the trailhead and where the parking lot is. As we begin the return hike from Lolo Vista, the real challenge sets in. We began our trip at 3,800 feet above sea level and ended at 2,200 feet above sea level, which means we have 1,600 feet of elevation to hike back up. The trail is pretty steep in some areas, and other areas it's more of a gradual incline, and it does have a few flat spots that will give you a chance to catch your breath. Between the elevation gain, the uneven footing of the exposed roots, the midday sun, this hike does become a true workout. For families with kids, it's important to pace yourself. Short breaks, plenty of water, and encouragement goes a long way. On the way back to the trailhead, we spotted another wild rooster. This isn't one of those trails that feels easier on the way back by any means, but that's what makes the final steps of the trailhead feel so rewarding, especially when everybody pushes through together. We came for the views, but left with muddy shoes, tired legs, and some of the best memories of Kauaʻi. This is what adventure looks like, wildling style. If you enjoyed this hike with us, give it a like, subscribe, and drop your favorite Hawaiian hikes in the comments.